The so-called grooming gang scandal, I'm not using the proper name right now because of restrictions that YouTube places on what you can say at the beginning of a video. All right? It's not grooming that they did though, is it? A national inquiry was the general demand and was refused. In January, Yvette Balls allocated £5 million to fund 5 local inquiries. Local inquiries would lack the coercive strength of a national inquiry, and being local would definitely not be as dispassionate as an independent national inquiry. So that was a huge step down from the national inquiry that had been demanded. But we took what we could get. Then, on Tuesday evening, 45 minutes before Parliament went into recess for the Easter break, when many MPs had already gone home and when the entire government was shutting down, Phillips stood up in Parliament and announced that instead of the government organising those attenuated local inquiries, instead of that, they were going to give the money to the accused councils and let them organise an inquiry for themselves. Of course, the timing was immaculate, and it's blindingly obvious to everyone that Cooper and Starmer hope that by the time everyone gets back to work after 3 weeks holiday, that story will be as cold as Starmer's heart. I think they really do believe that people will have forgotten all about it. I don't know. Maybe they will. I certainly won't. But what I'm most interested in, everybody's talking about this incident. I don't need to give you any more opinions on how sneaky and immoral that is. So what I'm going to do is take a look at Jess Phillips, because you see this picture next to me. That's a picture of someone who's had her soul sucked out of her. I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. So before I start playing the speech she made, I just want to tell you that Phillips said that they changed their plans because of feedback from local authorities. Now, actually, that's something I believe is absolutely true. In a government of lies, that is something that is probably absolutely accurate. Local councils involved in these horrible crimes have ignored reports that they were getting from all sorts of different people, including rogue police officers. Local councils ignored the reports. Local police sent victims back to their abusers and arrested fathers who were trying to rescue their daughters. And social services have, in effect, pimped out children, knowing what was happening to them. So, what would any reasonable person think the feedback of these councils would be to the government? And now for a short commercial break on behalf of me. No, I'm not asking you for money and I'm not asking you to buy anything. I'm asking you to subscribe. Some of you might have been paying attention to my subscriber numbers, and you also might have seen that there's something funny going on. You may look at it at 9 a.m. and see that it's 73,400. At 10 a.m, 73,399. At 12 p.m, 73,401. 1 p.m, 73,402. 397. Then at 3 p.m, 73,400. Again. In other words, there appears to be some sort of cap on my subscribers, keeping it to within this narrow margin. This happened a couple of years ago as well, when I saw my figures going up and down like that within a level of tolerance. It went on for months. I spoke to the support people about it then, asking if some software engineer with a grudge had put a worm into my system, and they said no, that wasn't possible. But I know enough about computers to know that it's more than possible. So what I want to ask you is to subscribe if you aren't subscribed, and if you think you're subscribed, make sure that's really the case and that you haven't been ditched without your knowledge. Also, click the notification bell. That might help as well. Who knows? Anyway, that's it. Thank you for your attention, and back to the show. Okay, so let's just listen to Phillips' opening statement about the rape gang change of plan.
In the Home Secretary's statement to the House in January, she also set out what we are doing to crack down on grooming gangs, and today I can provide an update. Baroness Casey's 3-month national audit on group-based child sexual exploitation and abuse.
Did you understand any of that? Did you catch any of the words? Does it look to you like she's reciting something that she's ashamed of saying? Let's just look at her a year ago attacking Boris Johnson for the Partygate affair.
So there were people in our country who listened to Boris Johnson talking on the television. They took away from him what the rules were as the primary message giver in the pandemic.
What do you see there? A strong woman making a point, don't you? Somebody who really believes in what she's saying.
Understood the rules, and it cost them their lives in a completely different way to that has been discussed so far.
Every word perfectly comprehensible. Yeah, clear, direct, each word separated. Let's go back to what she's saying here.
Is ongoing. It is building a comprehensive national picture of what is known about child sexual exploitation, identifying local and national trends, assessing the quality of the data, looking at ethnicity issues faced, for example, by cases involving Pakistani heritage gangs.
The sing-song intonation of somebody who is reciting something that in some cases, you'd find that sort of intonation in somebody who doesn't actually understand what they're saying. I give Phillips credit for understanding what she's saying, but she doesn't want to be saying it. This is somebody whose primary job is supposed to be safeguarding women and girls, the vulnerable generally. And just listen to her.
Reviewing police and wider agency understanding. We are developing a new best practice framework to support local authorities.
Just look at the way she's nodding her head. She's for some sort of rhythm in what she's saying. Let's go back to the Boris Johnson speech. She wasn't nodding her head there. She was punching the air.
The idea that Boris Johnson didn't understand the regulations. I mean, it's a cracking defence on his part, I have to say, because
Look at that, using her whole body, punching the air, looking directly out, not looking at notes, because it's there in her heart. And now, this is not in her heart. She's just reading it. And she doesn't like what she's reading. But she's reading it. She's just sold her soul. It's not going to help. She won her seat by something like 600 votes. She's not going to last out after this Parliament goes to the country.
Want to undertake victim-centred local inquiries or related work, drawing on the lessons from local independent inquiries like Telford, Rotherham and Greater Manchester.
Oh, something else. I mean, she is wearing a padded shouldered jacket, but I can see that she's hunching her shoulders forward inside it. I'll just go back a little bit and you'll see that.
Drawing on the lessons from local independent inquiries like Telford, Rotherham and Greater Manchester, we will publish the details next month. Alongside this, we will set out the process through which local authorities can access the £5 million National Fund to support locally led work on grooming gangs.
Now back to this.
Basically means he's too stupid. He's either lying or he's thick. And as somebody said, somebody wasn't mutually exclusive earlier. I think that's the case in this instance as well. Those two things are not mutually exclusive.
Following feedback from local authorities, the Fund will adopt a flexible approach to support both full independent local inquiries and more bespoke work, including local victims panels or locally led audits into the handling of historic cases. The chair of the National...
Well, what do you think? Can you see here somebody who's had everything sucked out of her and what's standing there is a shell? So the sum being discussed is £5 million. And that means if it's 5 local authorities, each one will get £1 million, which I'm sure they'll spend with absolute probity. £1 million. Possibly 30 pieces of silver in today's money. Sort of appropriate for Easter, isn't it? Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.